And someone who knows about moving and changing culture, in particular on the internet, is our respondent, Kenyatta Cheese, who I believe is setting up. Kenyatta, do you want to stand or are you going to sit?
Either.
Okay.
I'm going to sit stand. Hang on. Sit stand. Sit stand. Give me a new slide.
And by the way, I mean, we should all tune in to Whitney. Clearly, there's not enough of us in our community watching Whitney, so please make sure that you support and tweet during the show. And because, I mean, there are so few Asian American television executives, so we're just really grateful for you to share your thoughts today, Kwan.
So can you write something for me in really big letters here? First line, stop gambling, all caps. Second line, oh, ... Second line smaller underneath, but if you do, and that'll be a title of this thing. I actually, I mean, I had all this, I had tweeted earlier, I had all this stuff that I had wanted to talk about, and then everyone before me said all of it, which sucks for me. But it also means that I can have a little bit more fun, and I can be a villain, and I can say that everything you said is wrong. And I kind of mean that, but I kind of don't, but I kind of do. And it's because if you actually look at I think people are building compelling stuff online. And I say that as someone who, yeah! But I say that as somebody who, I went from TV over to, TV and film over to the internet because I thought, TV fucking sucks. I don't want to wait 20 years to be able to tell my own stories, right? And then I went online and I was able to tell interesting stories, but then I thought, the internet fucking sucks. There's a ceiling to how much audience I can build, and granted, I think I didn't employ a lot of the, whether intentional or not, a lot of the tactics of Wong Fu and everyone else. But I built up this web series with a decent audience, and so I ended up going back to TV in the last year just to kind of study what was going on there and try to better understand it. And I'll try to better understand its relationship to the internet. And I think that, and in doing that, I've ended up talking to a lot of people who do television, and they actually have the same attitude of, the internet's great, but there's only so many videos of baby goats and sweaters that I can watch before, I feel like I've seen it all. And the problem is they haven't seen it all, right? If you actually look at the top 100 YouTubers, number one, a wonderfully disproportionate number of them are APA, right? Asian Pacific Islander America, however the hell you say that, right? And not only that, they've actually been able to create followings because of the fact that they are, because they are themselves, right? That's the authenticity, right? And it's something that young people are relating to in a way that's leading to 1 million subscribers here, 5 million subscribers there, and then not just sort of on YouTube, but in places like Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. As Gary kind of mentioned earlier, the important part about that network, not saying that that's necessarily the future, and that this whole thing of broadcast is going to go away. There's no way it's going to go away. It's insane. But there's something to be said about building up these huge armies, being consistent with programming, as you said, and being authentic, right? That will give you a ton of success. And I think it's something that a lot of filmmakers in particular, especially if you've gone to film school the way I did, I learned about craft, right? I spent I don't know how many hours editing on flatbeds, and then realizing that none of that really mattered. It matters. But what it ended up doing was giving me this, making me realize that in order to be prepared for the way that we are spreading stuff online, it is more about your network, and your network is so much bigger than you think it is, right? Reach out to scientists and lawyers and older Asian Americans, because those are people who actually do listen to you. The problem with, oh, we didn't put the gambling thing up, did we? Oh, that's all right. I want to talk about gambling because of the fact that I think that we're too dependent upon one particular network. I'm sorry, not a network, it's that hierarchy, right, of Hollywood, right? You're basically playing the content production lottery. If you think that you're going to be able to create this amazing treatment and then hopefully get it heard by a producer and then hopefully have that be able to turn into a funded pilot and then hopefully have that picked up by a network. That is freaking insane. What the are you people doing? The same thing exists in film. I think it's worse in TV than it is in film. At least with film, there are enough sort of, not enough. I mean, but there are so many festivals out there that you are playing that lot. It's more like March Madness, right? In basketball, where you're trying to get like, oh, if we get in this festival, hopefully it means we'll get in this other festival, which means that eventually we might find distribution. Oh, and then we have to market the frickin' thing. Like the thing is, it's just really, really hard to do. And so you don't necessarily need television. However, but if you do, there are a number of great examples out there of how this stuff can be used in a way that's really incredible. In particular, what was I going to say? So everyone knows about the Louis C.K. thing, right? Louis C.K. does the. Do I have to tell a story, or you know it? You know it. Okay. That was considered a success of the network, right? He was able to leverage this amazing thing he had in social in order to create something that was self-funded and then self-distributed. Of course, in order to do that, he had to leverage this like major attention he had on TV first, right? That's not to say you're supposed to use one or the other. And that's not to discount the success he had on a network. What it means is that you can use both, right? In the startup world, what we try to do is, if we try to build platforms and everything as big as possible until we need help, right? Until we need more resources to get to the next level. And that's where VCs like Gary come in. Hi, Gary, I'm gonna hit you up for money later. If you think of TV in the same way, if you don't just sort of work in TV, for those of you who do, if you don't just sort of work in TV, but you freaking work it, the important part is to build up enough audience there to bootstrap something that you can do where you have your own independence. I think that I'm usually extremely cynical about this sort of thing, but I think the Louis C.K. thing is going to be a sign of things to come because it exists not just with that, but what you're seeing with Indiegogo and what you're seeing with Kickstarter and people being able to fund stuff through their own networks. You're going to see a lot more of these things bubble up. And do not be surprised if the next one you see, I really think the next one you're going to see, that's the big success story in this sense, is going to be someone of Asian and Pacific Islander descent. I guarantee it. Damn it, I can't back down from that. So yeah, that's my response.